What I'm going to be talking about today is using the Gale Databases, and you can see right here the icon over on the right of the web page. It says the Gale Virtual Reference Library. I'm at the CHS Libraries website for the high school for Chelmsford Public Schools, and we're going to be searching the database today. And let me just click on it right now and watch it open up, and you can see how many individual databases they are. Now, if I click up here, it says Gale Power Search. I would search all these databases at once, and there's a whole lot of them, and each has a different spin on it. Or I could click on one of these individually, and I could search that as well. If I wanted to go into, say, InfoTrack Junior Edition, I could go in here, and I could search something specific. This is a number of others. If I want to search one of biographies, click on this one right here. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to do some keyword searches just to give you an idea how it works. There's a project we did recently for a science class, had to do with global warming and farming and food supply. So let's start with a very general word like farming. And you see, I get a ton of results. There's a lot of different databases that it comes out of. There's a lot of good information here, but obviously a term like farming is very vague. When you're using keywords, you want to use something specific. I use the example, say, if I put in urban farming. Now I get more specific information, so using multiple keywords at once is certainly one strategy to get more specific information. Another strategy might be, instead of searching, well, every single database under the sun, search one specific database, because, for instance, if you're searching maybe a database that had to do with American history, then you might find something about farming that happened 100 years ago, which might be okay if that's what you're doing, but maybe if you're doing about farming today, it might not interest you. So the best way to do it is to find specific databases that do exactly what you want. So let's try going into one. Let me go into environmental studies, policies, and collection. And then I could try urban farming. And then I'd get results that more closely resemble what I'm doing. So what I usually recommend to people is to do multiple searches with the same keywords. Try different databases, same keywords. Try searching all the databases at once, and then trying to add multiple keywords at one time. And then as you go through and you read each passage, to go find other keywords. And a lot of times, if you use other words that have similar meaning, like for instance, instead of using farming, maybe using agriculture, because people who do writing tend to use bigger vocabulary, and if you use the same vocabulary that they use in their field, you're more likely to get what they have written. Now, I have here a list of keywords that I came up with for this project to try to find as many keywords as I could find. And the idea is that if you have 100 students doing a project, each of them could use slightly different keywords in slightly different databases, and everybody could find qualified, reliable sources like you would find in the Gale database, except they would all have different sources. Nobody would use the exact same sources, and yes, occasionally you might get one or two people using the same source, but generally speaking, you would find people who would have very different sources, very different information, and each of them could modify their thesis sentence or their topic so that it was specific to what they wanted to do. So even if you had one topic, it could be global warming, it could be farming, it could be urban farming, it could be any specific question that you have, where they could then modify it into a smaller question, a smaller thesis sentence, and each person could have different information and different keywords and different sources for college readiness, because this is how students in college are finding a lot of their information, by using keywords and doing different types of searches and getting good at finding different keywords and then trying to find a specific database that fits what they're doing. So this is very important towards college readiness. But I do recommend a couple things. First of all, I recommend that you do some background reading before you do keyword searches, and that when you first look for information, you should read very carefully, and you should find other keywords to search, and then you should write a thesis statement, and you can change it later on, but you should have some background before you start going and doing all your research. Even if you just read a newspaper article or a magazine article or the encyclopedia, a lot of times is a good place to start. It gives you a general overview of the topic, and then from there make it more specific. And as time goes on, if you write a thesis statement, you can obviously adjust it, and you can obviously find other keywords and other synonyms to the words that you're already using and use different databases. And by doing that, you can find exactly the unique sources that you want that best suit what you're doing. This is John O'Sullivan. Thank you.